Perfect. We are live. So as usual, we'll try to share and then
Mhm.
before we start. Yeah.
The people they wait you for
My
stuff.
people, Jesus Christ, I don't know what's happening. They just wait until I start and then
The job, kids. I have to battle my own troops before I get them to bed. It's not like that they're stalling. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. Just stalling and stalling, not wanting to go to bed. That's what it is.
yeah, I think we just need one 1 or 2 more minutes to share and then we should be good.
Mhm.
Um yeah, I think I think we're good to go.
Ready? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to the Idle Pack Talk Show. Again, it's such a delight to always have you guys here. Um, Today, we are following up on our topic we had last week, which was the elections that happened in Cameroon on October the 12th. We are a few days to the pronouncement of the winner, which was supposed to be tomorrow, but was postponed to Monday, the 27th of October. So we are here to talk about the updates, reactions to the recent happenings in Cameroon. For updates, we have the second outing of Issa Tchiroma. We have withdrawal of fraud cases or fraud contestation by um, Joshua Osi of the SDF, and Kabir DB of the PCIN. So we have a few videos and a few pictures that we're going to go our usual format, discuss, show a clip or show a picture, and then go from there. Again, it's such a pleasure. And if you want to join, please let us know. We can always add you to the call, or you can leave a comment, and we'll do our best to be able to answer your comments or share our opinion at least. Um, Without much ado, I think we're ready. Everything is set and ready to go. We will just dive in. Awesome. Just your perception of the reactions, the happenings in the streets, some violence, some burning of buildings. A few people have died already. What is your thought post-election? And we don't even have an announcement yet.
I mean, I get the feeling that the worry that I had from our last show seemed to be kind of materializing on the ground. I know we talked a lot about elections violence and what that might look like, and I seem to hear a lot happening. You have people going on the streets, burning buildings, attacking businesses and courthouses and things like that, right? So this is just kind of the prelude to what I worry would happen after the declaration of the elections. And I think my worry is this: though uh, Issa Chiroma might have claimed victory on these elections, I worry that he might not have been victorious. I feel like his claims of victory, premature claims of victory, is somewhat predicated on knowledge that he did not win the elections, and this
Mhm,
is to him some sort of kind of a surprise attack to the ruling party or the CPDM. I worry that once the elections are declared and the CPDM eventually wins, like we've talked about, then things are just going to descend into chaos, which we're already seeing some of.
mhm,
We've had arguments about Issa Chiruma's evidence as to how he came to declare himself. All right. He hasn't really provided a lot of evidence in that sense. And we've also argued that, social media is not where you present your facts. Facts have to be presented where they matter, which is starting from the process, Elecam, right up to the Constitutional Council. I know that the Constitutional Council has been meeting, and it is unfortunate that our esteemed Issa Chiroma, so-called president-elect, chose not to participate. So they did not go there to present or justify their victory. They did not go there to challenge any of the results that might come out. Did not go to talk about the frauds, the accusations, because again, they are alleging that the ruling party has stuffed ballots, there's frauds, there's manipulation, there's all that. They did not go to the Constitutional Council to present evidence of all these accusations, right? So to me, these are allegations without um allegations which are not founded, in my opinion, because if you have proof, if you have evidence to the allegations, you would go to the Constitutional Council and make your case, right? And the fact that they've chosen not to tells me a lot. Because again, that is the only environment, that is the only place where you would expect the party to go to defend their votes or defend their results as they claim. So yeah, it's chaotic, and I know things are going to get worse as we go. Um, like you indicated, the Constitutional Council decided to postpone the announcement of the results. So again, I'm not sure what the reason is. You might know. I'm not very clear what the reasons are. Again, it might just, I don't know if it's to give people time to calm down and get over this anxiety. I'm not sure. So hopefully they have good reason for postponing, because we were hoping to get results tomorrow, right? I think it was 23rd, which was Thursday, and I don't think that is going to happen.
No. Mm. Well, I have no, I read it. It was in French. I didn't quite understand why it was postponed. But yeah, the fact is, it's still on Monday, which is the 15th day granted by the Electoral Court to be able to pronounce or to proclaim an election. So technically, they are still within their required legal responsibility to be able to declare a winner within the 50-day period. A good summary there. We've seen a lot of violence in Chang, where we discussed this in the last show. Recently, there's been some violence in Marua, in Garua, some scuffles in Yaoundé, but those were quickly shut down, and everybody went to their houses. Um, in your opinion, why is it so difficult to ask for someone to prove that they've won? Why why do people feel so unsettled? People also feel so emotional when you simply ask, okay, you've declared that you've won. Can you show us proof beyond social media posts? Because anybody can concoct that, anybody can make that out. Why are supporters of Issa Chiroma, and I dare say just regular people, why are they so upset, emotional when you tell them, okay, can you show proof? Because you have people on the one hand are saying the government is corrupt, cannot organize an election. The everything that you take from them should come with, you take with a grain of salt. But in the very next breath, you take someone who has been part of the government for the last 20 years, who was Minister of Communication, who in the last presidential election held the opposing position that he's trying to counter right now.
Mm-hmm.
He suddenly has the power to be able to declare election, and he is suddenly speaking from a place of truth, and we should just take his word for it. Why do you think that is?
So for me, I feel like it's projection. That is what I think is happening. I also feel that, when you don't have proof, you all you have is noise, and the only place you could go and make noise without people really holding you accountable is social media, and I think that is where Issa Chiroma has focused his attention on. He is focused on social media, where you cannot be held accountable, where people can't connect with you directly to challenge the things you're saying. Social media, where you could choose to delete certain comments from the post, comments that you don't like, or
Don't
comments that
favor
are a
you,
little
yeah.
bit challenging or holding. You can do that. I think that is what he's chosen to do. He's failed to go to the Constitutional Council, because you don't when you go there, you have to go with proof. And you would think, considering all the noise that Chiruma and his people have been making on social media about having the PVs and having original PVs, you would think that they would go to the Constitutional Council and present their PVs and contradict whatever documents that the ruling party or the Elecam has presented to justify the result that they would like to announce, right? They don't want to do this because they don't want to hold themselves accountable. They don't have proof. That is in my opinion. And based
The
on
logical
based on
conclusion.
their standing, if I have evidence, why won't I put forth that evidence where it's supposed to go? Why won't I do that? Why would I be so upset when people tell me, hey, you've been talking about victory, but you haven't really shown us any real documentary evidence to justify your claims? Why am I so upset? Probably because I don't have what it takes to
Yeah,
justify the noise that I have been making. I probably don't have what it takes to qualify my declaration as the victor of these elections, right? And I
yeah.
think that is where Issa Chiroma's problem is. He's chosen to remain in Garoua. I think that's where he is. Or in the north.
In the north,
He's
very
chosen
well,
to
yeah.
remain in the north because he feels like he has a strong base up there, and he feels safe and secure and knows that he can say whatever he wants, will not be held accountable, things that he will not be held accountable by the state. They should not forget, Atanganji has made it very clear that as long as you are in Cameroon, you will be held accountable for the allegations and the things you say, right?
Yeah,
So again, I'm just saying, I don't believe that he has what it takes to justify all the claims that he's been making on social media. That's why he has chosen to not participate in the process. That's why he's chosen to stay away
Yeah.
from the Constitutional Council. That would,
And when, yeah,
mm,
sorry. When you make an argument like that, people are saying, "Oh, what good can come from the government? The government has been corrupt for decades. They cannot, in all good conscience, create an electoral system that is free and fair, that is unbiased. They obviously have to create an electoral system that is going to favor them. I mean, that's usually the pushback, and that's fair. We've all heard of fraud and elections, and nobody will, in their right sense, deny that there was any fraud and cheating in this past election. The question is, it is not just only in Cameroon. Fraud and malfunctions or thievery and whatever happens in every election in the world. Just last year in Canada, there were reports of fraud. In US, just last presidential election, there's always report of fraud. We heard about Trump in 2020. The question is your fraud, is the fraud beyond reasonable doubt? Can it affect the result? That's the question. And it is very important that you go to the right quarters and litigate this matter. Social media is not where you litigate all these issues. So, do you think that is a fair pushback to say the Cameroon government is corrupt? Therefore, they cannot create an electoral system that is free of corruption that will not guarantee their victory.
I mean, we have a comment on the screen from
Yeah.
Emil Ban, who says probably it would, no, I would support his decision to his decision not to approach the Constitutional Council. Everybody knows that the council is an arm of the CPTM. Did we not witness last year the president of the council signed a motion of support to the CPTM candidate? Secondly,
The loser
it
to
would be
approach.
the loser to approach the council to complain and not the winner. I how I mean, who declares the winner? Does the winner unilaterally declares themselves winner, or is there a process that you have to follow to be declared a winner? So again, I don't know that I agree with that argument, right? I mean, I agree with the fact that state institutions and leaders on people who are head of state institutions like Elecam and the Constitutional Council are
It's not a
appointed by the
political.
president,
Yeah.
right? That those are political appointments, I believe. And yes, there is clearly there could clearly be a certain a degree of bias, right? Again, I probably wouldn't challenge that, but you can't fight a system that you agree to. So
Prior to the
I would
election.
assume that when Issa Tchiroma ran for elections, he was agreeing to the terms and the conditions for participating. He was agreeing to the role and the power of Eleka. He was agreeing to the role and the power of the Constitutional Council. If he wasn't willing, or if he was suspicious of these institutions in the first place, why would you run? Why would you run
Yeah.
if it was obvious to you that
Yeah.
that these institutions would favor the ruling party? Why
And
would
more
you?
importantly, you defended this system back in 2018. So are you telling us that these systems have become more corrupt or less corrupt? Like who? You have grown or the system has changed? Which one is it? Okay. Has the truth suddenly appeared to you or has Eleka become more corrupt? I think that's a question that he has to answer. Plus, it amazes me. Who is who is supposed to contest? Is it Lekam that is supposed to contest Issa Chiroma's results, or
Who
Issa
is it?
Chiroma is supposed to contest Lekam's result? Like that just baffled me. Like if the analogy that I use, and I think it makes sense. If you have a corrupt teacher who has been known for corruption, and then you have a new student that comes back from school taught by this teacher and say, "Oh, my teacher said I took first in class," and then you, the parent, asks you, "Where is your proof?" And the student said, "No, I say so because I don't think my teacher can be fair and unbiased, so they are corrupt. I am the first in my class." I think any reasonable parent is that, like, how did you grade yourself? Regardless of whether your teacher is corrupt, he's the one to be able to give you that grade, whether you're first or you're second. It is your teacher's responsibility. Sure, we can have corrupt teachers, teachers who can buy um, um, into anything. But at the end of the day, you cannot reverse that. It is the teacher who's supposed to prove the student wrong. The process has always been the student has to be graded and given a pass mark or a fail mark by a teacher. So if you carry that analogy to the recent elections, who is contesting what? Is Elekam contesting Issa Tchiroma or Issa Tchiroma is contesting Elekam? Like that is crazy. And like you said, Issa Tchiroma agreed to the terms and rules of this election before he ran. He defended these same
Well,
procedures and
yeah,
systems in
yeah,
2018.
yeah.
Okay. He was on the other side. He told Kamto that whatever Kamto is doing, because Kamto announced himself winner, like he's doing right now, that Kamto has neither the capacity nor the mathematical formula to be able to declare himself winner. Like, how can you declare yourself winner? And then 7 years later, you're doing the same thing, and then all of a sudden, you are the one who is the judge and executioner of the electoral code.
Right,
You are the one who has a perfect result. You're not
right,
biased. The system is
right.
biased.
Yeah,
The system that you're part of for 20 years,
right.
it's not biased.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you are the one who comes to clean hands. You have the perfect results, and it's a system that you just left that has to contest the result. Like, how does that sound to any reasonable functional person?
There is a post that I saw on Facebook. I don't think I have it here, but I'll just kind of read it. Again, it's from they call it's Cameroon News Agency, CNA. I think you will know it. It's a
No.
popular
Mhm.
Facebook uh, Cameroon news thing. He says Cameroon's main opposition figure Chiroma Bakari has published 16 results from urban areas where he won 13 of the 16. He has continued to show original return sheets from the polls. That gives him an edge over Paul Biya, who surprisingly is leading in doctored results from Eleka. So the reason why I'm choosing to read this post kind of backs the question. Issa Chiruma, according to him, has published results from he has published results from selected regions, certain
Right.
regions where he believes he did well, better than
Right.
the CPTM, right?
Mhm.
Okay, now Elekam has published results from the Northwest, which are clearly Issa Chiruma probably would never have had up to 3 or 4%, considering considering um considering his campaign in those areas, right? And his lack of representation in those areas. So Northwest, Southwest, right? So now they are saying that the results that Elekam, the PVs that Elekam is putting out are doctored and fabricated,
Yeah.
but wanting us to believe that what Issa Chiruma has
Doesn't
put
matter.
out are original and authentic,
Yeah.
right? So there's this dichotomy here. Do we just believe Issa Chiruma because he is your favored candidate, or should we believe Elekam, who had representatives from at least one or more of the parties represented? Because again, it's and another argument that I've heard is that the representative signed the first page and the last page, and the
Right.
middle pages where the results are actually on were not initial or signed by the opposition or by Issa Chiruma's representatives, which means the allegations are this: that Elekam has pulled out the first and the last page, fabricated the results, and then put it back together.
Yeah.
That is the argument that people are making. Yeah, we agree that there are certain areas where there was fraud or ballot stuff. We agree. Now, do you sit at home or go on social media and declare fraud and not go to? So I sit in my house and say
And declare yourself winner.
and declare myself winner, and not go to the Constitutional Council to justify why I say I won, or I sit in my house and claim that there were ballot stuffing going on in certain polling stations, but not take that evidence to the Constitutional Council
Council.
to justify the claims that I'm making. I feel like we've given Issa Chiruma, not we, people, Cameroonians, are so desperate for change that they've given Issa Tchiroma a very long rope, and he's playing with it however he wants. Everybody believes whatever Issa Tchiroma says, and nobody else. Everybody else is a liar.
The same rope that Issa Tchiroma could not afford to give
The
Camto.
same rope that he could not afford to give
He
Kanto.
he did he could not afford to give Camto. Okay, and I don't know. Sometimes I ask myself if I'm crazy or not. Like, am I reasoning well, or is something wrong with my brain? Like, you are telling me the body that is responsible for running the election, you're able to contest the result, and that's fine. You should be able to contest the result, and if there's fraud, call it out. I think that's fine for any reasonable person.
Mhm.
Nobody should be trusted. But at the same time, you're telling me that an individual candidate can release results without bias, and we should not be able to ask for evidence for that from that person. That's bizarre to me. That sounds like crazy. Like, how will you justify that when you say, "Oh, I agree to the rules and regulations prior to the elections that this is what we're going to do, so so and so," and then 24 hours later, you say you have the results, you've declared yourself winner, and not only that, you refuse to come and show that you have won. Like, why is it so difficult for Issa Tchiroma to go and prove that he's won? And to say it doesn't mean that we support Bia or we want Bia. I, for one, I don't care. I mean, I would like for Issa Tchiroma to win, but win in the ballot boxes. Okay, don't impose a win on us. Show proof that you have won. Show to the Cameroonian people that the elections were fraudulent. They stole it from you, and
Mhm.
then this is the real results. And then prove it beyond reasonable doubt that you
Right.
won.
Right.
Nobody will have an issue with that. You know, I want change, but then I don't want to be imposed on a candidate who cannot to do the bare minimum of go in front of the Cameroonian people and say your elections were stolen and this is how it was stolen. These were the results, and show proof that these are the real things, so that we can see these things are live streamed for kind of like today. They just did it of Joya, the Joya lady,
Mhm.
whose claim was declared irreversible or inadmissible. It was live streamed.
Right.
Why can't Issa Choma do that? Why is it such a curse to be able to demand for evidence from Issa Choma? Why is it so hard? It's baffling to me, and sometimes it makes me think like, am I crazy? Like, is something wrong with my brain? Or because I want change, I will just discard due process. I'll
Mhm.
just discard all the systems that have been put
Mhm.
in place to be
Mhm.
able to
Mhm.
present a
Mhm.
candidate that has duly won because I want change. Because I want change, and I want change from people who have
Mhm.
followed the rules and
Right.
who have literally won the election. But if you are calling your shot on social media and you refuse to come and prove yourself, I'm sorry, the facts don't fall on your side.
No.
And it's not because I hate you or I don't want change or because I love Bia that much, because nobody loves Bia really that much in Cameroon. It's not that. It's because you have to prove to some people like us who want to see the evidence before we jump the ship. Is that too
People,
much to ask?
it's not Ghana. I think we are on the same page here. We have people saying that why should we believe Eleka? And I asked them the same question. Why should we believe Issa
What?
Tchiroma? Why should we believe Issa Tchiroma? Issa Tchiroma has been part of this system. He's been part of the government for 2 decades, 20 years plus. He was Minister of Communications 8 years ago. And he was the one who held Camto to account, Issa Tchiroma. And again, similar scenario is the same
No, no.
situation. Elections got, and 20 a few hours later, Camto said he won the election. Same thing here. Same
Yeah.
thing. The difference between Issa Tchiroma and Camto is that at least Camto went to the Constitutional Council to
At least
justify.
come to win.
That is the difference. He went there to establish and to justify and to submit whatever proof he had for claiming that he won the elections. Issa Tchiroma is not willing to go because he is worried or afraid that once he presents himself to the Constitutional Council and present whatever evidence he has, it will probably either be thrown out or it might not meet the expected standards, or it might not even be enough to sway the elections. They might grant him the whatever 16 poll stations that he won in, and it might not be enough to significantly change the results of the election. I think that is where his problem is. And again, this is the difference between Issa Chiroma and Kamto. Kamto at least is someone who
He
recognized,
respected he
re-
respected the Cameroonian people
respected the Cameroonian people enough.
to
Yeah,
tell
sorry.
them. He was, I'm sorry to cut you short, but
Yeah,
he
go.
respected the due process. He respected the Cameroonian people. He respected his viewers, at least to go out there and tell them, this is what you guys cheated me of. These are the sole procedures. This is where we found significant fraud. This is where we found a lot of cheating. At least he respected the people to be able to explain to them. For Issa Tchiroma to just sit in his comfort of his home and then to make social media claims, it's baffling. And I think we should demand more for him,
Yeah,
particularly if you demanded more from Camto.
yeah.
He should be able to go and explain to himself, to his voters and to the Cameroonian people, this is the fraud. This is what happened. This is how you guys were cheated off your vote.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, and let us be very clear and upfront that it is Elekam that has forged the results. But
Right.
no, you are the one who's calling the Elekam to come and contest your
And
own
then you are
protocol.
not even present. So who is Elekam contesting with? Because you let's even assume that Elekam needed to come and justify their results or challenge you, but you are not even there. So how are they challenge? How would they challenge you when you're not even there? Emil said we again talking about believing Elekam. We
Yeah,
should
he
believe
posted he
Elekam,
posted
which
he
states
posted earlier before.
that more
He
than
said
oh sorry,
he
there's
did say, I think, yeah, I think at one
okay
point,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. You want to read that?
Yeah, remember when injustice becomes law, I think it means resistance becomes duty. The people
Right.
are resisting all the institutions and rejecting them. They have won, but now the people have decided. I'm not sure he means who have won. Um,
Are we
well,
saying that we should disregard if Elekam says that okay the ruling party won or Paul Biya won, we should disregard what
the
and
ruling
then
party
make our
believe come.
decisions outside the anyway I don't get that, Emil. If you could expatiate a little bit on that. And then he talks about uh
You should believe
25,000
elected.
people voting in Batibo. Well, if there's if Kamto no if Chiruma is confident that 25 people did not vote in Batibo, why wouldn't he bring his own PV?
Every day. And
Why would he?
by the way, OC Joshua OC Joshua OC contested Battle.
Right,
He contested Battle, and you know what? He reviewed the case like 2 days before
right.
it was supposed to be reviewed today.
Yes.
Joshua OC, I don't. So okay, where does Joshua OC stand? Is he complicit? Is he complicit with the rigging or the fraud, or is he saying the fraud, but it's not important to sway the election? Or is Joshua C trying to tell us there was no fraud at all? So you have to be able to tell us if you be claiming that there's fraud, and then the time for you to bring the case and present to the people and say this is where the fraud is, and then you withdraw your case before that. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking you probably don't have um the facts and evidence on your side if you're withdrawing before the case, or you are complicit with the fraud. It's one of the two, or you think maybe the fraud or the changes in the electoral in the votes is not significant enough to be able to sway the election if there was fraud. So I think if I'm being very generous, those are the three options that Joshua C had. Either there's no fraud, either the fraud is not enough to sway the election,
We have
or
come to
you
a
are
conclusion.
complicit with the fraud. It's
Yeah.
one of those three things. You cannot. I'm looking. It's like, oh, you have a case. I said you stole my thing, and just before the judge, you say no, I did not steal your goat or whatever. I say no, you stole my goat. I say no. And then just before we're supposed to go before the judge, you withdraw the case. That that's just tell me that you stole my goat. Like what else am I supposed to conclude from that? Okay. And for Issa Choma not to even respect his voters, respect due process, respect the Constitutional Council, to be able to come and defend his case, I think it's logical to conclude that the facts and evidence are not on his side.
Right.
It's a very logical conclusion.
It is.
It's not far stretch off to be able to make that jump. And
I mean,
um,
before you start calling people's children to come and die for you on the streets, I think courtesy demands that
Mhm.
you present the evidence and give them reasons, good reason for dying on your behalf.
On your
Because
behalf.
this is what Issa Chiroma wants. He's calling on people to come, go on the street. He's calling on young Cameroonians to protest. He's calling on young Cameroonians to march. Probably would face the forces of law and order if few people get killed on his behalf. These people are dying without even seeing the evidence that tells them that okay, Issa Chiroma won, and because he won, because this is the evidence, now I can go and protest. Not even the courtesy of presenting people with whatever facts or evidence that he has. Nothing like that. Yet he's out here calling people's children to go on the street
People didn't do that. I think it's
and
massive
march
disrespect.
on
It's
his behalf.
massive disrespect for his fans to start with, for the electoral process of Cameroon, and just for the electorate in Cameroon in general. It's a big disrespect that people will go out to cast your vote and then you sit in your house and declare winner on social media, and then you're not able to come and defend yourself. Okay, you are the one who's supposed to come and contest the Elecam results,
Mhm.
not the other way around. It's not Elecam that's supposed to come to Marua or Gara or wherever you stay to be able to say no. This is what we have. That is right. What you have is wrong. You are the one to go. There is a channel to be able to handle all of
There
these
is a
things.
channel.
Social media is not a place to be able to litigate all these cases. Okay, and it's sad for the democracy in Cameroon because the people who are pushing this are usually the ones who are saying they are for democracy. They are for all votes of the people to count. But I'm sorry, if you have a democracy and you want all people to count, you have to let the competent authorities do the job.
Yeah.
And wherever there's avenue for you to contest, you should be able to go there and say, this is the evidence that shows that these
Right.
people's votes have not been counted. These people vote. I'm sure if you look at it deeply right now, Issa Tchiroma is the one who's not respecting democracy.
Right.
He's the one who's not respecting the will of the people. And a lot of people have hijack this word to let the Constitutional Council do the right thing. Let the Constitutional Council do the right thing.
Well,
And by that, they usually mean the Constitutional Council should endorse Issa Chiroma's results.
you
That is
yeah.
by that is
Implicate,
a hidden message.
that's what they're implying. That's what they're implying. They're
That's what they're
implying
implying.
they're implying for the Constitutional Council to just validate Issa Chiroma's
Issa
claim
Chiroma.
of victory.
They are not implying that the votes of Cameroonians should be able to count and people should be able to receive the results that they voted for. That's not what they're implying. When people say the constitutional council to do the right thing, usually Issa Choma supporters, they are implying that the right thing is for them to endorse Issa Choma's results. That's the only implication. Okay, it's not because they're saying, "Oh, let the constitutional council do the right thing," and by the right thing you mean we should make sure that no fraud, all fraud is detected and dealt with. Everybody's vote should be able to
Count.
count. Every
Not
Cameroonian,
not just Issa Chiroma supporters vote. Every Cameroonian's vote should count. I get the
yeah,
feeling that they only want Chiroma, they only want the votes for Chiroma to count, and every other vote is minimized or could be
right.
kicked to the curb. That is the impression I'm getting. Again, they keep talking about this projection. They keep projecting results. Um 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 William
Williams.
Fu says, interesting discussion,
Uh,
guys. But I think it's been statistically proven that based on the distribution of registered voters, there are 18 urban districts that carry 80% of the overall outcome. And it's been proven that Chiroma carried most
okay.
of them. Again, it's been proven by who? Issa Chiroma, Elecam, the Constitutional Council, who's proving this? I mean, it's easier. It's easy to say that yeah, we carried. Now it's time to go justify why you made the statement. Go to the Constitutional Council and justify why you think that you won. You won 80%. That you led in 18 in 18 over that you go there and justify, right? Just saying it word of mouth, just saying that you carry the vote. I don't think that's enough. I think you have to go with whatever proof or evidence that you have to demonstrate that yes, we look. Why would you even project? Why project when we have the results available? Why project? I think that is that is a very interesting conversation to have. Like, why do you work on projections when you have actually have, if you have evidence, come show us. You don't have
Well,
to sit in your house and not present, you know, where
right.
is the evidence? And we keep asking, where is your evidence? And I think that's probably the most important question to answer. Where is I'm not denying that Issa Tchiroma didn't win. Maybe he won, but convince the people by showing us how he won. Don't project. Don't say, oh, 18 urban areas, he carried the vote. Where is your fact? Where is your proof? That is a question that I think
Right.
Issa Tchiroma and his supporters have been unable to answer.
I think that that's a fair assessment question. And William Fu is a grandfather we all respect very much. We talk sometimes on the forum, but I think it's not far stretch to be able to ask Issa Tchiroma to be able to prove that he won the election. First of all, you're not the one who's supposed to announce that you're a winner. There's a process to announce that.
Right.
If you come out and you say that the election results are wrong, it's only but normal and a logical question for us to be able to answer. Where is your proof? You should be able to prove to us. I mean, if you respect your voters, if you respect the process, if you respect the Cameroonian people, you're able to tell them that this is a fraud. This is how I won. I won 18 urban areas. These are the numbers. You should be able to argue these things out in front of the competent authorities, in front of the people that matter, that will be able to see it with you. But if you decide not to, it is not unfair for us to be able to look at that and say you do not have the evidence that you claim to have. It is not a lot. It's not an illogical conclusion to be able to say this guy is not serious. This is just social media stunt to be able to, um, may I say, push Cameroon to a point where we do not know what the consequences are going to be. So it is but fair that if you are demanding people to go out on the street and march and make sure their votes count, that you show them without beyond reasonable doubt, that you have enough evidence to contest the election. And it's a mad disrespect to those kids, a lot of who are considered disposable
Mm-hmm.
by these politicians, both
Yeah.
in the ruling party and in
Yeah.
the opposition. These people are they're just disposable. First of all, they're gonna go, they will be caught. A lot of them don't even have IDs to start with. I saw
Mm-hmm.
pictures of those in Mara. Many of them did not have IDs, not to talk of voters' ID. Many of them did not even vote. Okay, so these young people who are probably jobless and have nothing to do are considered disposable to these politicians, both in the ruling party and in the opposition. So if they catch you and if you're shot by the law enforcement officers, they don't really care. That's one life lost. Your family is going to cry and they'll bury you. That's it. You are considered disposable to these people. They don't really care
people
whether they're caught.
people going on the streets, I don't think that's evidence. That how is that evidence?
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, the evidence is the people moving onto the streets. I don't know. I don't know that is evidence. How is that evidence?
Right.
I can't say.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that's evident. No, I mean, anger is an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Frustration is an emotion that you
Yeah.
express, and sometimes you can be really angry and break things. But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't facts don't really care about people's
Emotion.
emotions,
Right.
and it's very important for responsible politicians, both on the ruling party side and the opposition,
Yeah.
to be able to present their voters and
Mm-hmm.
supporters with the facts so that
Mm-hmm.
you should know why you're going to the street.
Mm-hmm.
You should know that my candidate won. These are the numbers. He has gone and presented his case. This is a pushback. The pushback did not meet the expectation. So my
Right.
candidate won. But if
Mm-hmm.
you sit in Mara or wherever you are and you say you won and you expect people to go out and die on your behalf, people whose families are going to bear the consequence. Who a lot of don't even have the ID card, talk less of the voters' ID card, who did not even participate in the election. I'm sure you're gambling with the lives of Cameroonians that you think are really disposable and you don't care what happens to them. Like the people who were caught in Cham. Is anybody talking about them? There were about 45 people, and maybe like eight of them had voters' ID. Is anybody talking about those people? Do you know the amount of years those people are going to spend behind bars for not only protesting the election, but going into the private residence of the rector for burning the courthouse? Do you know how many years those people are going? Do you even think of those people? Do you think Issa Tchiroma wakes up and even think of those people?
No, but Ghana, he thought of those people 8 years ago, and let's listen to what he said about people like that 8 years ago. This is
Ouais.
this is what he said.
Quand vous parlez de répression, quand vous parlez d'incarcération, je ne suis pas d'accord parce que lorsqu'on prend quelqu'un en flagrant délit,
Oui.
tels que ceux-là ont été pris en flagrant délit de violation des lois,
On peut réprimer, c'est cela.
on les arrête.
Oh non,
Et puis on les traduit, on les arrête.
Donc
et on les traduit.
réprimer que vous ne voulez pas.
Non,
bon,
c'est pas la répression. Maintenant, devient un instrument d'incivisme où on invite les gens à la casse, aux opérations ville morte. L'Internet devient donc un instrument d'insurrection, de déstabilisation d'une partie de notre nation.
L'Internet a toujours fonctionné partout, dans tous les pays, justement. Et ça n'a pas été un instrument de...
Le Cameroun n'innove pas. Vous savez très bien qu'il y a beaucoup de pays de par le monde où chaque fois qu'il y avait des problèmes de cette nature...
Quelques pays seulement.
Oui, mais alors, il y a beaucoup de pays. Je suis désolé.
Est-ce que vous avez mesuré l'impact?
Nous n'avons pas listé.
Oui. Est-ce que vous avez mesuré l'impact quand même de cette coupure d'Internet sur l'économie du pays?
S'il faut mettre sur la balance...
Oui.
Entre l'intégrité territoriale physique de notre pays, la paix, la stabilité et l'économie, le gouvernement choisit bien sûr la paix, l'intégrité territoriale de notre nation. Oui.
So you hear what he said. If you're caught flagrant délit, you're caught in the act of destroying state property or destroying private property, you're going to be arrested, and due process is going to happen, right? This is what Issa Tchiroma said a couple of years back. I'm not sure if he was making reference to the protests during Issa Tchiroma or if he was saying that during the Anglophone crisis. But again,
it's probably the Anglophone crisis. Yeah.
But again, it's the same. The consequences remains the same. You destroy public property. You destroy private property. You go on the streets and march without the relevant approvals. You are going to be arrested and due process is going to happen. This is what Issa Tchiroma said a couple of years back. So let's not forget, those who are going down the streets to go march or to go protest on behalf of Issa Tchiroma, please note what he said. And the government hasn't changed. The policies have not changed. The laws
the same laws.
So if you are caught in the act of destroying property or you're protesting without the proper approvals, know that you are going to face the music and you're going to face the music on your own. On your own.
Yeah, they say chaos is usually in a group, but punishment is individualized. Right. I think it's just Issa Tchiroma did say that, but I was going to say what was I going to say? It's escaped my brain right now. I'll think of it again. But if you have to prove, it's just a matter of respect of the electorate of Cameroon to be able to go and prove your point. And to get, when all this is settled and done, okay, you're going to see Issa Tchiroma hanging with all those ministers.
Yeah.
Around it. They're going to share a cup of coffee or a cup of wine or a cup of, and like, oh, let's forget bygones, let's forget. You know what is going to happen to you who's caught in jail? You're going to rot in that jail, and nobody's going to give an F of what your name is, what you were doing, or whatever. They won't care because these politicians think of these kind of people as disposable. People who can go out and left and loot and steal and in the name of results when they are not even sure of the proof. Okay, mind you, people were protesting 24 hours in Issa Tchiroma made that 24 to 48 hours after election, when they are still counting in some places, in some divisions.
Yeah.
So it's sad. Okay. Like we said, the last show we had this is literally Issa Tchiroma versus Issa Tchiroma.
Mm-hmm.
You if you're doing a presentation, I think that should be titled Issa Tchiroma versus Issa Tchiroma. You just play the clips of Issa Tchiroma in 2018 and you play the clips of Issa Tchiroma in the last 2 weeks, and you see the contrast.
We have another contrast or a contradictory a video from a couple of days back with Issa Tchiroma talking about the government he was part of a couple of months ago. Issa Tchiroma left the government just a few weeks
early this year.
Yeah, a few months before at the presidential elections. So let's hear what he has to say about this government.
Le RDPC contrôle l'administration territoriale. Il contrôle le Conseil constitutionnel. Il contrôle le Conseil électoral. Il contrôle l'ECAM. Parce que tous ces dirigeants sont nommés par la même personne. Donc ils sont redevables à ces personnes. C'est pas ça? Vous pensez donc qu'ils peuvent se permettre de se tirer une balle dans la jambe ou de scier la branche sur laquelle ils sont assis? Ils ne peuvent pas. Ok? Or, nous, il faut qu'on les oblige à dire la vérité. Le peuple doit amener le Conseil constitutionnel à dire la vérité qui sort des urnes, mais pas des fantasmes. Je vais vous dire mieux. Le Conseil constitutionnel là, peut fabriquer déjà les résultats avant que l'élection ait lieu. Pas de commentaire. Ils peuvent fabriquer les résultats dès maintenant. Dans l'élection soit, on peut même proclamer que le président a déjà gagné avec un pourcentage qui leur convient, alors que l'élection n'a pas lieu. C'est pas possible? C'est possible. Donc il faut que vous compreniez. Il faudrait que votre esprit soit libéré des limitations. Ce dont nous avons besoin là, nous voulons le changement. Nous voulons le changement. C'est bien ça. Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un dans cette salle qui ne veut pas le changement? Donc, puisque nous voulons tous le changement, dans cette salle, personne ne peut voter le candidat du RDP. C'est vrai ou faux? Vrai.
By the way, how many of you are sitting in that hall? And how is that? You know, because you and your cohort will not vote vote CPDM, does that mean that everyone else is not allowed to vote CPDM?
No.
Right? So it's the logic. Again, the point I wanted to make with this is that Issa Tchiroma has been part of this government for 20 years. There have been, I think, 3 or 4 elections within this 20-year period. So is he saying that the ruling party, the government, has fabricated the results of
for the last
and every elections that we've had in this country? If that
is it's not far-fetched to make that conclusion.
Fine. If that is the case, is he saying that Kamto actually won the elections and he joined the party and the president to deprive Kamto of his leadership of this country? Is that what he's saying? That would not be a far-fetched conclusion to make, would it be? No, it would not be a far-fetched conclusion to make. It would mean that Kamto won, and he connived with the government to deprive Kamto of leadership of this country, which is really sad. And if people believe that this is the person who is going to change Cameroon, I feel very sorry for them. If you believe that Issa Tchiroma, who has been a part of this system, who has been part of perpetrating the corruption that he claims is happening, who nominated him, who made him minister? It's the president who made him minister.
Yeah.
So is he saying that he owed allegiance to the president and everything that the president wanted? He would. So is that what he's saying? And if a man like that stands in front of me and say, "I want to lead you," is that the person I would pick for leadership? That is a question that people are not willing to consider. Kamto might be changed, but he might not be different from the government that we are chastising. He might not be different from the government. No, sorry, not Kamto. I'm talking about Tchiroma.
Issa.
Not Kamto, sorry. Issa Tchiroma might be changed, but he is not very different from the government that we are chastising now. Isn't it? Yeah.
I think the pushback people are going to say, "Oh, he was part of the government. He's just a spokesperson." Doesn't mean he personally agrees with everything that the government says. My friend, you can resign if you don't agree with everything that the government says. Plus, I think it's any government. If you're chosen to be part of a government, you have to agree with the agenda of the leader.
Yeah.
The leader has to come and say, "Okay, this is where I want the country to go. This is your role. This is what I go." If you participate in there, you cannot come and suddenly claim innocence. I'm sorry. Okay, it's like, oh, I invite you. The CEO invites you to a company and say, "This is the vision of the company," and then you disagree with the vision, with the vision of the CEO. the noble thing to do is to resign and leave. Okay, so that everybody can see that you clearly disagree with the projections of the video. You see something else. You don't agree. So people, but you cannot come and say, "Oh, I was just pouting the words of the leader on top." You have to agree because when you form a government, you pick people who are going to support your agenda and have people who are going to carry out that agenda for you. Okay, the president cannot be everywhere at all times. So that's why he appoints people to be able to do that for him. Okay.
I mean,
And
people with integrity, and we know a lot of them. People with integrity will step away from the government.
they do.
People with integrity will step away from the government if the government was heading to a direction that they felt like was not in
No, not the
accordance
right
with the
direction.
values that they hold. Issa Tchiroma, based on the arguments that people like, has no value, has no integrity.
He has
You
no integrity,
no integrity. You cannot
no
stand,
loyalty.
no loyalty. You cannot sit in front of people, national media, and say that and say that and say that there is no Anglophone problem.
Yeah.
If
Then
you
to come
really
and
do
say you're
not
speaking with
believe,
separatists.
if you really do not believe that there wasn't an Anglophone problem,
Right.
you can't. Again, tells you the kind of man that he is. He is someone who seems to be eating from two different plates. He hangs out with the CBDM government, receives salaries and commissions from there. He hangs out with Chris Anu and talks about Ambazonia. He hangs out with Agbo Balatu, who is a little bit controversial too in certain ways, and talk about whatever agenda. This is a man who has no values, no integrity. He is a man who goes with the wind. He could float to any. You really cannot pin. I mean, you can't pin him down. You can't say, okay, these are his values. No, we can't say that.
You can't hold him to account.
You
Yeah.
can't hold it, which is
Because
a problem.
he's as
Which
fluid as water is.
you cannot be the leader of a country if you just flow, go with the waves and bend and
Yeah.
twist and have no value and have no integrity. Today, this man is your friend. Tomorrow, he's your enemy. Today, you're hanging with this guy eating. The next day, that is not the person who should be leading.
Today you say there's no Anglophone crisis. When you're campaigning in Bamenda, you say the separatists gave you permission to come to Bamenda.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Right? You say there's no
I
Anglophone
think you have a
crisis,
comment
and then
from
you come back and say, no, I was only saying what the government wanted me to say.
like,
Who are you? Are you a child? Are you a 5-year-old child who repeats? Are you a parrot who goes out and repeats things that have been told to you?
yeah.
That you can't even hold yourself accountable and say that, yes, I said these things, but I made a mistake. Or
I mean,
you have to blame someone else. This is a man who does not take responsibility. You have to blame Paul Biya and the CPTM party or the government for saying things that came out of your mouth. Nobody was pointing a gun to your head.
No.
Nobody was forcing you. You come on national television and debate and argue that there's no Anglophone crisis.
Yeah.
Only to turn around 80 years later or a couple of years later and say, no, they made me do it. That is what my 5-year-old does. He made me do it. Right?
You won't even let that excuse fly from your 5-year-old.
No.
Because you're going to hold your 5-year-old account, like son or daughter. You are lying to me. I want the truth from you. Tell me where you stand. At least I'm going to believe you. This is where I know where you stand. But don't be flip-flopping. These are excuses that we cannot let our children make, for anything. If my child makes that kind of an excuse, you're like, the problem is not that you don't have a position. The problem is you are flip-flopping. Tell me where you stand. Let's deal with it. If there are consequences, we're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
But stop flip-flopping. Like you were A today and you're B tomorrow. We're going to read the comment of our senior, Mr. Fru. But before that, Issa Tchiroma was like, oh, okay, because the senior council, they cannot be unbiased because they're appointed by the government and they can be appointed by the government. Don't you think they're responsible to the government? If he becomes president today, how is he going to select the leader of the Constitutional Council?
Good question.
If he becomes president today, how is he going to select the leader of ELECAM? In principle, yes, there's a potential for these people to be biased. In principle, I mean, they're human beings. But these people are supposed to, as humanly possible, strip away all biases, all biases that may present. when you hold such a position? Is there potential to be biased? Of
Yeah.
course, but we are, at least the expectation is for them to be able to act in certain way that they are neutral in all dealings. Because at the end of the day, people do not appoint themselves. Even Canada, election Canada, the leader was appointed by the government of Canada.
Right.
Even in America, the leader, the government appoints who or whatever system is going to run the election. Somebody has to appoint somebody at the end of the day. Like the human race has not developed or evolved in such a way that an unbiased system would just sprout out from nowhere and then to be able to have the authority. Somebody has to give them the authority to be able to run the election of a country. And in principle, there's a potential to be biased. But I mean, that's not the expectation that we want to hold those people to be able to fall for potential. We expect them to act neutral. Okay, because if he were to become president today, I guarantee you he has to appoint these people, or he's going to probably get rid of the people who are there and
But
appoint his own
appoint new
people.
ones. Right.
And are you going to take the same criticism that these people are loyal to you? Anyway, let me read the comment of Senior Fourier. So we have to be considerate to the people who are struggling in Cameroon. They think this is their chance. We can't deny them the chance to at least try. Try not to focus on Chiroma for a bit.
At least try to do what? Again, that is the question that I don't get. Try to do what? Try to let a man who may not have won the election to see to what kind of precedents are we setting? If we allow Issa Tchiroma to become president, even if he did not actually
He's
win the
not winning.
election,
Yeah.
right? What do we expect him to do 5 years or 7 years later to what? Have the elections free and fair? We've already told him that you could do whatever you want, right? So who should we focus on? Who should we focus on? I'm not sure. Issa Tchiroma is going to be the president eventually. Who should we focus on?
Right.
Paul Biya? Say, okay, he's the devil, so it doesn't matter how we get him out. I don't know that we could just go down to lawlessness just because we need the president to get out.
Change. Yeah.
I don't believe that.
I think it's also respect for the people who vote to be able to
No,
go
for
out
sure.
to the street, know for sure who won. It's very important before you go out to the street and even risk your life.
You shouldn't be doubting. You shouldn't go onto the streets doubting whether this guy actually won. If you're going onto the street, it should be clear. You should have
you should know why you're going to the street
and know why you're going. Sorry, Ghana, for interrupting.
Yeah, no, you're good. I think people who want to go to the street, they deserve to know why they're going to the street. Okay, you can't just go into the street like that. I mean, think of all post-election violence that's happening in all countries. It usually starts with somebody declaring themselves winner,
yes,
even before there has been a legitimate process to be able to declare who the rightful winner. That's usually how it all starts. And I'm sorry, people who are, and I don't know if we are the ones really pushing Issa Tchiroma. I think we're not. I think our position is let whoever won be the person to be the next president of Cameroon. If Issa Tchiroma won, I don't have a problem with that. My problem is just win the election, free and fair. Just show us that you won. That's all we're asking for. I don't think that's too much to ask from him. I don't think that's too much to ask. But the ballot should be what should decide the president of the Cameroon, not social media posts, not a statement from a candidate, not the people who are going to the streets to be able to burn down buildings and tell us that they won. No, those are not people that the ballot box should be able to tell us who won. Okay, I think that's what we are defending, the integrity of the electoral process of Cameroon. If OC was in the same position as Issa Tchiroma is, my argument is not going to change. My argument is going to be the same.
Right.
If Cabral Lebri or Paul Biya is in the position where Issa Tchiroma, my argument is going to be the same. But it seems to me that people who are on Issa Tchiroma's camp, the argument is not going to be the same. If it's really Paul Biya who won, they're probably going to change. Because let's be frank, most people hate Biya and they want Biya out. That's just the truth. Most people who voted for Tchiroma voted against Biya because they're tired of Biya. That's the truth about it.
Right.
But Issa has to still win the election. That's the point you were trying to say. And nobody's against him being president. but just win free and fair. That's all. Is that too much to ask?
And before people start saying that we are too critical of Issa Tchiroma, I want them to go back and watch our previous shows and see how critical we have been of Joshua Osei. We have even, I mean, at this point, I'm even calling on Joshua Osei to resign as chairman or a head of this of the
SDF just needs a burial now. SDF is not
time
a
for him
serious
to
political
go.
party.
It's time for him to go. So we have been critical of other opposition leaders. We've been critical of Joshua. Say we were critical of Kamto.
Kamto.
A lot more critical of Kamto. Again, not because we don't like Kamto, but because we expected a lot better from him. A lot better from him. And that is why we were so critical of Kamto. A lot more critical of Kamto than we are of Issa Tchiroma.
Yeah.
So before people go say that we are so biased and critical, they should go back and watch our previous shows and see and know that us being critical is not because of Issa Tchiroma.
I mean, from our previous shows, Issa Tchiroma was not even in the discussion.
He wasn't even mentioned.
He wasn't even mentioned because Issa Tchiroma is just riding on the void of Kamto. That's the basic truth.
Yeah.
Most people just voted Issa Tchiroma because they didn't have Kamto.
Their candidate wasn't available. Yeah.
Their preferred candidate wasn't available. And to be fair, Kamto has worked very hard to get to where Kamto started his party in 2012. He ran for the election in 2018. He has worked hard to be able to build that base. That it was such a disappointment for me personally to be able to see him not run, and reasons that he contributed a lot to. But it was a huge disappointment for me personally that he was ineligible. But Issa Tchiroma is just riding on Kamto's horse. He's just riding on Kamto's void and picking up Kamto's supporters, the ones that were able to switch last minute. Though we did not even mention Issa Tchiroma in that
because he only became a serious candidate after Kamto was kicked out. That is when Issa Tchiroma became a serious candidate. And I know people have argued that Issa Tchiroma could not have won because he did not have the proper foundation on which to build on the success. First of all, he no representation, no campaign in North and Southwest region. Spent a lot of time in the North, most of his time in certain parts of the North. Only came down to the littoral and to the Central Province only after Kamto was kicked out. So how do you even, again, that is the more reason why I doubt the possibility that he won the elections, because he wasn't prepared. He wasn't ready. He wasn't prepared for this. He only took advantage of Kamto's absence, which to me is unfortunate because Kamto.
It is what it is. The opportunities in politics. And win the elections. Win it. That's all we're asking. I think Lere LC has a comment. Right. I guess what people need now is just someone who can replace the current president. Integrity or not, just a replacement is needed. The other characteristics are appendages and can be looked into later. People are tired and frustrated. You want to go? I think a lot of people share that sentiment. A lot of people don't like beer. A lot of people are exhausted by beer.
Right.
But if you have that in the back of your mind, at least what my frame of thinking, I'm tired of beer. I don't want beer to be there. But at the same time, I will want the person who is running, who replaces beer to be able to win an election. I think that's fair to ask. And then to be able to prove that you won an election. Okay. I do not like beer. I hate for the fact that I get to see a 92-year-old run a country and contest to run again for another 7 years. That is very disgusting. Nobody likes that. But the opposition still has to win an election and show to us that they won an election. And more importantly, show us that they are responsible to us and they are able to campaign for our votes and win our election.
If they start bending the rules now, and taking advantage of situations, what do they do when they're in power? Again, that is a question that people need to answer. If we allow Kamto, if we allow Issa Tchiroma to step into power in this way,
what's he gonna do?
There's no guarantee if he's willing to do what he's doing now. Imagine when he's president, and the things that
my projection is that he's going to be very authoritarian. You think that
he's going to be a dictator as well.
If he's made this statement and he wins, if you make any of this kind of statement, during Issa's reign, you're going to have the military knocking on your door. There will be like serious crackdown for people even go out and make this kind of thing. That's just my projection. Because those who live by the sword do not usually want to die by the sword, because they know that they did it and it worked. They know how to crack down on people who want to attempt that. So that's just my projection.
Chris just says there was no free and fair elections. Again, when you make it, I think it's a general statement that really doesn't apply. The elections were free, meaning those who wanted, again, especially in the in well, if we talk about the north and the southwest regions,
Yeah,
I'm not sure how free it was, but when I talk to people back home in the north and the southwest, most of the people that I spoke with told me that they had no difficulties going out to vote.
yeah.
Those who wanted to vote did not face any challenges going out to cast their vote. That is what I know. So when we talk about free and fair, again, it's debatable. But if we talk about election malpractices, I would agree with you that yes,
There are lots of election
there
malpractices.
are lots of reports of malpractices during the election. Certain polling stations had issues, which were recorded according to the process. It was recorded and again submitted, right? These issues were resolved within the polling station because again, the representative, the chairperson, they resolve those issues within.
And the observers have to sign off.
The observers have to sign. So if you talk about malpractices, malfeasance, yes, I agree. But when we talk about free and fair, I did not hear again. There were election observers from NGOs, from religious groups. I read a lot of their reports. Nowhere did I see that people were prevented from coming out to vote. I never saw that. So the argument about free and fair elections, it's debatable. I could present a really good defense in fair.
I mean, we've seen videos.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen videos of people trying to cheat, and most of those videos are people holding them account, even brutally trying to hold those people account for trying to cheat and distort the vote of the population. If I've seen all of the videos, I've not seen more than 100 videos.
No.
And we're talking about 31,000 polling stations. Okay,
yes.
take 100 polling stations out. We don't count those. And if you say there was no free and fair election, why is Issa Tchiroma declare himself president? How did he become president?
Exactly. Again, you can't scheme off a system while challenging that system at the same time. I think that is what Issa Tchiroma is trying to do. He claims that he was victorious. At the same time, he's challenging Elekam. And all the privileges that he has, or he claims to have, he claims it came from Elekam, right? So you cannot challenge a system while benefiting from it at the same time. I think this is the game that Issa Tchiroma is playing. Yeah. He has PVs, he's counter elections that were organized and run by Elekam. Well, you're claiming that you won. And then now you turn around and say elections were not free and they were not fair. If they were not free and fair, why should you be claiming victory? Shouldn't you be claiming that the elections should be redone? Or you should have some of those polling stations either recount or redo the isn't that what your argument should be?
Yeah.
Should you be claiming victory while claiming that elections were not free and fair? Again, I don't know that you could hold those two positions at the same time. I don't think you can.
Chris says, how do you think the election is free and fair when the system is not credible? So I don't know. My pushback to that is Issa Tchiroma's system credible? What system did he use? When did he create the system? How did he count the election?
It's the same system.
Is he using the same system that Elekam used? So is Issa Tchiroma credible? I mean, the system is known for corruption. There's no doubt about that. The system has probably had fraudulent elections in the past. There's no doubt about that. But the answer is not to replace.
No, Ghana, we speak as if Cameroon is the only country
that has faced,
Even in the US, I remember George Bush and Colin Powell.
Yeah.
I remember the claims that George Bush told
Hillary
them.
Clinton, Trump,
Hillary Clinton
all of
and
them
Trump.
claim of fraudulent. They
People
claim
say
fraudulent election.
Cameroon is not the system is not perfect. Just like the system in the United States isn't perfect. Just like the system we are in Calgary, the municipal elections just happened.
Right.
And people are saying that they need to recount the votes. One of the candidates saying that we should recount because it is a system. Follow the system and correct the system as you can't claim victory and then condemn the system that you got victory from. I don't understand how it works. Cameroon is not the only country that has issues with elections.
Yeah.
With the managing and the direct. Cameroon is not the only country that has issues. Even the United States, where democracy is all they know, they have had issues on multiple occasions. So this argument about the system, I mean, Tchiroma knew what the system was. He's been in that system. He chose to run in that same system to turn around and blame the system. If Kanto blames the system, yeah, I would listen to him. Not Tchiroma.
You know what I'm thinking? Again, I kind of mentioned in the last show. I will pay $1 million to be able to know what Kanto says.
Kanto is not saying a word.
Kanto has not said a word. My suspicion is Kanto still has strong political ambitions.
Yes.
And he doesn't want to commit himself to a particular outcome.
Yes. No.
So
he's just going to let them do
he's very technical. He put out there. I don't know, it was a philosophical post that made no sense.
I didn't understand it. It was too philosophical for me.
Where do you stand, Kanto?
I did not get it.
Another projection that I have come to absolutely despise Issa Tchiroma right now.
Of course.
He probably hates Issa Tchiroma because he sees Issa Tchiroma having been on the receiving end of Issa Tchiroma's disdain from the last election. Kamto probably really hates Issa Tchiroma right now. I'm sure he doesn't want to catch Issa Tchiroma. But whatever, politics is a dirty game and it has to be played. And my thing is, if you're not playing politics, politics is playing you, whether you like it or not. I don't think that these people love you and care about you. For some people, they really consider you as disposable, and they don't care. What do you think?
Sorry, do you want to read? I think Laura had a.
Yeah, we have a few comments.
No.
We had a comment from
Mr. From there.
Yeah, ground floor. The country belongs to the people and not the politicians. What we are about to learn in Cameroon is whether Cameroonians are mature enough to take back the country. If they are able to do it, they will do the same to Tchiroma. If Cameroonians are successful in the operation, they will not allow another dictator. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what I was trying to convey there, but Issa Tchiroma is already acting as a dictator to me right now, if you ask me, because he's not following due process. He has just unilaterally declared himself as winner. So if that's not dictatorship to you, I don't know what dictatorship is. Okay.
And I mean, when you say Cameroonians, we have to take back what does that mean? I don't understand. The only way I thought we could take back this country was going to the ballot boxes, to going to vote and vote massively.
Right.
Isn't that the only way we take back? Is there another way that doesn't result to people dying? I don't get it. When you say we have to take, how do we take it back? We have voted. Right? We have voted. Yeah. That is how we take it back. There is no other way. Unless we decide that we have lives that we don't care about and that we are willing to lose, lives that are disposable, that would be the only option. So again, I'm not sure if Grand Frère is suggesting that, we
go to the streets.
We should go to the streets and die just so that we could take back our country and pass it on to Tchiroma. I'm not sure, if that is what he's saying.
I think, and this has nothing to do with Grand Frère's comment there, but in general, I think there are some people who are willing for some Cameroonians to die to meet their aim.
Yeah, Issa Tchiroma is willing to do that.
There are some people who are willing for there to be destruction of property of businesses, of human life, for them to be able to achieve their political aim. And a lot of people are not saying that. They're going about the bush, they're rambling around it, they're not coming out clear. But that is the logical outcome. If you tell people to go to the street and take their country back, even when they are not given proof that their candidate actually won, I think that's a logical conclusion. A lot of people just ramble around it. They don't want to come clear. But anybody with eyes knows that that's what people want. A lot of people want riot and violence and death. Just not them.
Mhm.
Just not them.
Not
Just them.
not their children, but
No, not their children or their family members.
or their
Because
family members.
somebody will say that, oh, we should go to the street and make sure our voices are heard. And then he advises his family member, you guys should stay home.
Stay home. Right.
You guys, I'm like, wait, what? So who are those who are supposed to go to the street
Other
and
people's
protest the
children
election?
have to go and die. And again, it's the same thing when we talked about this Amber thing came up and people
The
were
same
saying,
Amber
oh,
thing.
people should pick gun. And I turn around and ask the people around me that you have brothers and sisters back home. I hope you send money for them to go buy weapons. No, their families, they had moved their
They
families
move
to
their family to
Douala and Bafoussam and everywhere else, but yet encouraging other people's children to get guns and fight on their behalf, and they are sitting here comfortable. It's the same thing that they are saying.
the same thing.
It's the same call. Cameroonians need to take their country back. How do you take the country back?
Yeah.
Unless you want to get you want to protest and die so that somebody else could president again. I'm just saying that would be the only way to get it back. If we can't get it back through the ballot box, then I guess people should fight and die.
The problem is that the current situation is not free and fair one. The so-called opposition members have all benefited from the current government at one point in the past. Consequently, it is really hard to get a pure and hardcore opposition in Cameroon. Yeah, the system is not fair and free. No system in the world is fair and free. No system in the world is 100% perfect. So it is a system we have. The answer is not to tear down the system. The answer is to make the system better work. If you have cases to prove fraud and malicious activities, it is your duty as the opposition candidate to go to the right quarters and say and tell us how bad the system is, not declare yourself victor on social media. Loris,
I think that's the last comment, and then we go to our last video.
Yeah, as some people were not prevented to vote, but the ballot boxes were stuffed in camera. This is why we are having double standard results now. I mean, that's true. Again, this is not a unique thing for elections in Cameroon. Cheating happens everywhere. Ballot boxes are stuffed everywhere. If you have a video, that should be an easy case for Issa Tchiroma to go and say, oh, I lost because of ballot boxes were stuffed. And these things are live streamed. We, the electorate, should be able to see that this is happening, and then the Constitutional Council to tell us what they did with that. One, is he able to sway the result? Two, does he have any does he have any significant consequences in the prospects of the election? Okay, and three, were they complicit? Was the electoral system complicit in such procedure? Those are things that we Cameroonians deserve. We can't just say, oh, the videos, and then you don't go out and prove it if you declare yourself winner.
So we are going to go on to the last video, which is a statement that was made by a video statement made by Issa Tchiroma yesterday, a couple of hours ago. So what I've done, Ghana, is that I've broken down the videos in little bits, and make our comments as we go, and then
I'll just make quick comments and
then we end, right?
After compiling report from the polling station and verifying the representation on the ground, it is obvious that we have secured a landslide victory surpassing 50% of the ballot cast. Such rejection and disavowal demand courage and humility from the outgoing president. In the name of democracy and custom, he must call the winner, congratulate them, and offer to organize a smooth transition. This would protect our nation from upheavals and convulsion that could result from an imposed and unprepared transition. By doing so, the whole of humanity would recognize him as a man of peace, concerned with leaving a legacy that would be cited as an example to future generations. Alas, it seems this is not your predisposition. Nevertheless, without any ulterior motives and with a sincere heart, I sincerely extend my hand for a peaceful transition. We now have two powerful levers.
So again, I mean, what he said, we've talked about some of the things that he's mentioned. He expects they call it the incumbents to call him and congratulate him, even though results have not been officially published, even though the Constitutional Council is still dealing with election issues. He wants the incumbent to call and congratulate him for an election that he claims
He won.
Again, that would be an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah. Who's contesting? Who's contesting who? Okay. Bobby has not made any statement. No opposition party has made any statement. You are the one who have declared yourself winner. If anyone is subverting democracy, it's you, Issa Tchiroma.
And just like we said the last time, this time around, he is not claiming that anybody has called. Probably people have called him to account. You can't claim that opposition leaders have called and congratulated you. How meanwhile they are filing reports with the Constitutional Councils, and they are why would they congratulate you and then turn around and file petitions with the Constitutional Council, right? So this is clearly obvious that the statement he made earlier was false. Because again, you didn't name anybody who had called to congratulate you. You didn't name any of the opposition leaders. You didn't call any names. You didn't give any specifics. Again, that to me was clearly an issue, right? Yeah.
At our disposal, the overwhelming popular support demonstrated at our campaign meetings and the unwavering respect for Article 113 of the electoral vote, which authorizes us to announce the result as we have done. Undoubtedly.
So we have a clip of that Article 113, don't we?
Which unfortunately I didn't put up.
I have it somewhere, and I'm just gonna read it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure you can hear me.
Yes.
Section 113. When counting is over, the result obtained in each polling station shall be proclaimed. Did you notice what Issa did there? The article says in each polling station.
Yeah.
But he's equivocating there. He's saying not the polling station, but at the national level where he has declared himself winner.
Yeah.
So if you're not smart enough, you won't be able to pick all this subtle misrepresentation and blatant lies.
Right.
It is said that at each polling station, when voting is done, they should be able to declare the winner. But he has taken that to mean he is the winner of the national election.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, some of us go and read these things and were able to read it and look and just know that you're lying. You're
Mm-hmm.
clearly lying, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You're if you if you could say not that whatever. Yeah, you get the point.
Yeah.
If you could quit him, if you, whatever, he,
Revocating. Yeah.
he,
Yeah.
he he's taking one thing to mean one thing in one situation and then
Yeah.
apply it that means another thing in another situation.
Right.
That's sad. That's really sad.
So again, it's politicians doing what politicians do:
What politicians do.
manipulate the people, twist information, hide information, omit information. That is what they do. That is
That's what
clearly
it is.
what he did here.
These two levels make me the legal and legitimate president of the republic. If the Constitutional Council proclaims falsify and truncated result, it will be complicit in a breach of trust. The vast majority of Cameroonian people will never accept the Council's validation of this historic scale of ballot box stuffing and falsification which has been brought to the attention of the world. The people will not stand for it. The people are determined to fight against a regime that is deaf to their suffering and difficulties faced with turmoil of an uncertain future. With their backs against the wall, the people have no choice but to take their destiny into their own hands and seek victory wherever they can find it. It is up to each of us to search deep within ourselves to unleash our inner strength, courage, and sense of purpose. Others who have found themselves in a situation comparable to ours have resolutely taken control of their destiny and done what was together.
I mean, he keeps talking about people taking control and taking this of their destiny and what does he mean by that?
It means violence. That's really what it means.
That he tells
you-
you without really saying it, because again I came to the same conclusion that he is calling on
yeah.
Cameroonians to seize power by force and violence.
Yeah.
I think again that is a conclusion that I came from this. That
Right.
is what he's trying to do. He's calling on
That's really
Cameroonians
what he's trying to do.
to seize power.
That's really what he's trying to do. Did you also notice that it is calling the government a regime?
Yeah. It's like
The government-
you give a dog a bad name before you kill it, right?
Well, it was the government when it was part of the government, but
It
now
was the
it's calling
government,
it
now
a
it's
regime.
a regime.
Okay. So suddenly it has changed there. Okay. You know, when people start to call the government regime, that means they're usually associated to dictatorship,
Yes.
to oppression and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
Okay. And then he did say if the Constitutional Council's release falsified and truncated results, that is for you to go and say to prove that they have released falsified and truncated results. It is your responsibility to show to the Constitutional Council that you have they are supposed to release the right results. Okay, you are putting the onus on the Constitutional Council. Meanwhile, the onus is supposed to be on
Supposed to
you,
be on
who
you.
declared yourself president and who
Yep.
says you have all the 18 divisions that give you the presidency. The onus on you to prove that to the Constitutional Council, not the other way around. Again, like the analogy I used, the onus is on the student to prove to the teacher that he was given the wrong mark, not the teacher to prove to the student that he was graded wrongly. Okay.
Mhm.
And then he says you should the destiny is in your hand. We should dig deeper into ourselves to take and then he goes on to say to unleash the inner strength and courage. We started with that inner strength and courage to do what?
That's a question I've been asking.
You're talking post election. You're not rallying people to go and
To
vote.
go,
This is after the election, and this is a statement to people who have the feeling that the election was stolen to them. Okay, release on deep to unleash their inner strength and courage after election to do what exactly, Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakari? To do what? Okay, it's not a far-fetched conclusion that you're really calling people to violence. I mean, I might be wrong saying that, but that is a very huge possibility. That's a logical conclusion for anyone to draw when they read your statement. Okay, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
It baffles me because he says it as if he's not saying it. He wants you to imply what he means by that. This is plausible deniability. No, that's not what I said. I said people should,
That's not what I meant.
That is not what he meant. Yeah, I might have said that, but I didn't mean for you to go to the streets. I didn't mean for you to do that. That is just plausible deniability. I did not mean what you. So that is what he's done. He's made statements that are insightful and that are provocative enough that people would think about, hey, maybe we should head on this. Donald Trump was held almost kicked.
He was impeached
for making statements like this. Right?
Boy.
He was impeached for saying people should go and for just I mean, it wasn't.
And,
really
and Trump even said you should go out and make your voice heard peacefully.
Yes.
Even he used the word peacefully.
Yes.
But this guy never even called for peace. He has never called for peace to win.
No, and Trump was impeached for that.
So
we talk about standards. We want to compare ourselves with the likes of the United States and Canada, but again, we want to pick and choose how and when we make that comparison. This is a clear example.
Yeah.
By
the way, Trump.
Yeah, go ahead.
And by the way, Trump. He let the due process go through, and then they voted against him, and he did what? He left. He left the presidency. He didn't cling there to power.
No.
Okay. No. And then the US government, which is the due process, did certify against Trump.
Right.
Okay. And so if you're comparing yourself to America, I mean, you should hold yourself to the same standards. That is due process that we have to follow. Yeah. Okay. You don't announce yourself winner because you feel so. It doesn't happen that way. Nowhere in the world.
We are preparing to take up this challenge to our compatriots in the north, south, east, and west. Regardless of our location worldwide, we will unite as one nation to protect and promote our values. We will march and protest together, hand in hand, in friendship, brotherhood, and solidarity for the long haul if necessary. We will overcome this predatory oligarchy that confiscates our freedoms and reduce us to poverty and despair. This regime has used fear and threats to dominate us and strip us of our freedom. But thank God, thanks to the sacred nature of our struggle, we will break free from this emotion and rid our country of this misfortune.
When did Issa Tchiroma join the struggle, Ghana? I don't. He speaks as if he's been.
You picked up something that.
When did he join the struggle?
Who's us? Who's us to start with?
Who is us? You left the government a few months ago, and you're talking about us.
Us, you're a
As
minister
if
of
you've been
communication.
down here in the trenches with us from the very beginning. You just left a few months ago. You were not even part of the struggle until Kanto was kicked out. Oh, then now you're us. You understand the struggle of the common man on the street.
The common man.
When did you last talk with somebody on the street in Cameroon?
This is someone who has lived a very privileged life
Someone
as
who
minister,
he's been privileged all.
had a house that was given the allowance paid for, had a bodyguard, security all over where he went, slept in the nicest hotels, was
Drove in a
given all
state in
government
a state car, paid
state car.
no bills. Like
Yeah.
when did
And then so they
when
say
did you
us.
join us?
And then you say us. Come on now. Some of us are not funny for that. Have you also noticed that he's beginning to sound like all those Amber people who when Amber started?
It's the same kind of conversation. What are you? It's the same script. It's just
It's like
different
the
scenarios.
struggle.
It's the same script. He's
He
talking
uses
about struggles. He's talking about repression. He's talking about a
repression
dictatorship. He's talking
about
about
the
we live in
regime.
poverty. You've not lived in poverty for the past 20 years. Let's even assume that maybe you were not, but you've been in the government and been in a very privileged position for 20 years.
Yeah.
How are you us?
He's talking about us.
And
For
is
us to
that
be able to,
you know what these Amber people is those people who were privileged and out of the country and were sitting up there
yeah,
talking down, because this is you talking down on people.
yeah.
This is you talking down on people because you're way up there, privileged, rich, wealthy. You don't know what poverty looks like.
This is basically just Amber's script that he's just taken and then
Yeah.
reformulated to include his own words. What's like struggle? What's like oligarch? What's like the
Yeah.
regime?
Yeah.
What's like us?
Yeah.
What's like fighting for your freedom? What's like we're done with the despair? What's like our people?
Our people. Who's your people?
Our people. This is literally just Amber words and statements that they use to be able to cause the destruction and havoc that they're doing for almost a decade now in the northwest and southwest. So he's using the same script. And if you go around the world, that is how most people,
Yeah.
when they want to start revolution, that is how
That's
they
what
use
that's how they start. Yeah.
from a privileged position, they wanted to identify themselves with the local man, they call us.
Right.
They identify the enemy and they start calling the opposition the regime that wants to harm you and take away your freedom. And only I am
Yeah.
the solution.
Yes.
Only I am the one to bring
Nobody
you to
else
freedom.
than me.
Nobody else. Even though I belong to the government for the last 20 years and I just resigned earlier this year, it's I that is going to bring you that freedom. Okay, nobody else but I. No one can lead it. The results that I post is the truth and only the truth. Okay. So yeah, I think we're just pointing out the thing for people to watch out. Okay. Do you want to be considered disposable or do you have value to yourself and to your family? Yeah. Because the disposables, again, we've said will be jailed and some of them will be killed and some property will be destroyed. And in the next few months, Issa will be invited to White House, not White House, I'm sorry, to Unity Palace, and they'll probably have their wine and their nice food and whatever, and they sing. And the disposables are gone or they're rotting in jail, and nobody will have anything to say.
And they make him minister. He might become prime minister or minister
prime
of
minister, or
territorial
whatever.
minister or something. Again, we read Jeune Afrique Economy saying that he was offered the post of prime minister, which he rejected. But again,
who knows? How do we know?
How do we know if he rejected it? Is there some truth in that? Yeah, again.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, eventually, whatever fighting is going to end, and these elites, we call them elites, would make peace and do a handshake and share a glass of wine, a bottle of wine, and then they would move on with life as if nothing had happened. Nobody's going to be held accountable. Leaders are not going to look back and say, yeah, these people died for me, and they are not even going to remember, right? So
no.
We are also discovering, unsurprisingly, these regimes attempt to divide and fragment the Union for Change.
I like the fact that he calls them a regime. I've never heard the government. I mean, I've never heard someone call the Cameroon government a regime.
Well, like I said, Amber called them the regime.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was part of them. They were not regime up to the beginning of 2025. Now suddenly they're regime.
Man.
Powerful political instrument at the forefront of our struggle for change. Not only will this attempt be futile, but it gives us the opportunity to close rank even more tightly and pursue our objectives with determination. I would like to reiterate once again my unwavering commitment to stand with the people in building and successfully fighting this battle, which will only end with the restoration of our victories. As I focus on our issues,
This is the part that interests me the most.
I am deeply saddened to learn of the assassination of Mrs. Zuhaira, a teacher who fell on the field of honor in the struggle for our freedom, dignity, and a new dawn for our country. This assassination will be further motivation for us to redouble our efforts until we achieve our goals. As for our defense and security forces, I would like to remind you of the letter I wrote to you. This struggle we are waging is also yours. Never agree to turn your weapons against your own people, as the suffering and
Yeah, a lot of that, the rest of that is more on
Yeah.
security and things like that. Again, the security forces which he had, called on them to defend the state and to defend the sovereignty and integrity of the state. Today he's calling on them to not listen to, again, it's confusing.
And then you see what he did with the death of that teacher
Yes,
who
yes.
was shot. Zaya, and I think I saw somewhere on social media Zaya's dad who came and said, from what he heard, and he doesn't have proof himself, she wasn't shot by a military, she was shot by someone civilian, and they could still be military and whatever. But
Mhm.
people who try to set up that they are the only ones that can bring you freedom, they are going to claim the death of anybody for
Anybody.
their own benefit
Yes.
because they want to show that these people are dying for a cause, even if they
Mm.
can't prove that
And
cause.
I I heard I was listening to RT today. The report that RT that Russia today had was that this lady was a teacher who was going home from school. She
Mhm.
wasn't participating in any protest.
Right.
She was not involved in the crowd. She left her class and she was going back home. And then she was hit by a stray bullet. It didn't say if it was a military, it just
Or
said she was
whatever.
hit by a stray bullet. But when you listen to Issa Chiroma talk about it, he's like,
Like
this
she
lady
was
was
protesting.
assassinated.
Yeah.
You see the words that they use. He talked
Yep.
about assassinated, he talked about murder, right? So when when instead of saying we are sorry for the death of this person who was an innocent bystander, or instead of saying that, you have to
Yeah.
twist it and say that this lady was assassinated.
All right.
You see the words that people
Yeah.
choose to
Yeah.
describe a situation that wasn't that serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Assassinated,
Yeah.
murder,
Yeah.
right? Again, you're playing on people's emotions, and
You
you're
are.
planting seeds of discord. You're planting seeds. That is what he's doing, so that when the time comes, they are going to say, you remember this lady that that
They
Paul Biya's
killed.
men
Was
kill, or
protesting.
this person that Atanganji had authorized soldiers to shoot and kill, or this person that they assassinated or murdered. Remember this name. This is not going to be the last time you would hear this woman's name.
Yeah.
This is what they
They're
are.
gonna
This
recall that.
name is what they are going to use to intoxicate the masses and pull them out to the streets. this name is not the first and it's not the last time we are going to hear of it.
You're gonna say justice for Zaya.
That is what is going to happen.
Victor Kameni says regime is a synonym for system. Any ruling government is a regime.
Agreed.
But I think
again,
there's a more
how you, yeah.
I think usually if you go by the dictionary definition of regime, there's usually an authoritarian aspect, usually imposition from the government down to the people. I think that's what people mean by regime. People don't call peaceful government or law-abiding governments regime. They call authoritarian governments regime. I don't know. Are you pulling up the definition?
A regime is a ruling government administration in power. Yeah, current regime has been in power for over 30 years. Often used to describe government seen as, So again, it's true that a regime means a ruling government and administration, a system. However, it goes further to say that people often use regimes when they are critically to describe a government seen as undemocratic, oppressive, and authoritarian, which is the context in which Issa Tchiroma is using. He's not using the word regime to describe the government. He's using regime so as to captivate the fact that it's undemocratic, it's authoritarian or authoritative, and it is what's the other word that they use? It's oppressive.
Oppressive, yes.
Yes.
I think that's the context in which he's
using. Because again, the thing is, words I think would mean differently. Certain words would carry different meaning when you use them in a certain context. If you could use regime, but most of the time people don't use regime in the context of describing a democratic government. People don't use regime when they're describing the government of the United States.
No.
But they use regime when they're talking about Iran, right? The government of Iran.
Or stuff like
or when
that.
they're talking about the government of Russia, they talk about regimes.
Regime,
And when they're talking about European states who they think is democratic and authoritarian, authoritative, and unrepressive, they talk about governments. Right? When they talk about North Korea, they call it a regime.
They call it a regime.
So the context in which he's using the word regime, I think it kind of goes against what Victor Kameni is kind of insinuating. Again, correct to say that it means government and system. That is correct. But now when you look at the context, now there's a little difference there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I think that's it, Ghana. I don't think we have any more. We've been going for
we're going for too long. We didn't know we're going to go too long. But anyways,
too long.
Yeah. All right. We have Laura S. regime because of dictatorial government. Yeah, just what we're saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we have a lot of comments. The conversation is going to continue online. We'll try to keep it respectful and entertainment at the same time.
I hope people did not feel offended by our positions or by our comments. Again, the honest truth is that I really, if Kanto was president, I don't think that I would mind. I would not. You understand, right? Because again, like I know that people really need change. But if we don't start holding Tchiroma accountable now, do we wait until he becomes president before we start holding him to account? I think it needs to start now, and that is what we are doing. If he becomes president, I'll still continue to be critical of him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we would be critical of any government or regime, as they would say.
Yeah, we will be. People will say, "Oh, they've taken money from CPDM or whatever."
Oh yeah, I wish CPDM was.
When I see that money, when I send out for it.
If you know who is disbursing those monies, please, let us know.
But the point I'm trying to make is, I don't really care if Issa is president. In fact, I want Issa to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but just win in the ballot. Just win. Just show us that you won. That's all. And that should not be hard to demand from a candidate who said he's won. That should not be. Anyways, it's been a long night. We're gonna keep the
conversation. Monday is when the Constitutional Council is going to declare make public the winner of the elections. Okay. So yeah, hopefully we I don't know if we have
We can
time.
do
Maybe
something. Yeah,
maybe
we can do something that
do
Monday. Yeah,
something Monday
hopefully.
evening,
Yeah,
following whatever spills out of that declaration.
yeah, absolutely.
I think you guys are against Chiruma. He. I think you guys are against Chiruma. He is not the best, but he is better than.
Well,
Well, I mean, I
yeah.
mean, I can't. I don't.
I don't like Jeroma. I think he has his own issues. But if that is what the people want, fine. I
Mhm.
don't really care. If the people want Issa Tchiroma, fine. But just win the election. That's all we're asking. That's all I'm asking. I don't know about other people. That's all I'm asking. Show us that you won in the ballot box. That's
And
all.
again, let's not mistake holding somebody accountable to
For not
hating
liking him.
or not liking them. It's just holding you to account. If you won, prove that you won,
Yeah.
right? If you are a better candidate, prove to us that you're a better candidate. That is all we are asking for.
Did Auntie Felicia take money from Issa Tchiroma? Did Agbombala who campaigned for him take money from him? So you make when people make accusations, it can go the other way around. Do they hate? I don't know. Whatever.
Again, today, yeah, today's been very engaging. Lots of
Yeah.
comments and lots of new people. Victor Kameni,
Yeah.
I
Nice to
again,
meet you, sir.
nice to meet you. I think he's probably new on the show. I haven't read comments from him before.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think this was quite an interesting conversation. We will try to have another conversation probably Monday after
Yeah.
results are declared, and test the temperature and see what is happening, see who won. I mean, Issa Chiroma might be declared winner, who knows, right?
Who knows?
Then we would have to talk about what we expect of him moving forward. So yeah,
Yeah.
we would have another conversation again Monday. We want to thank everybody for watching. Please, if you did enjoy the conversation, please like, share, share our videos to your friends and family and anyone who might be interested in political conversation. I know not everyone is a political
Not a
like
cup of
us.
cup of tea.
If
Yeah.
it's your cup of tea, please pass that on. Have a good night, everyone, and we would have this conversation continue in the comment section.
Okay.
Thank you.